Time to learn English. English lessons for grade 7 with Teacher May. Hi! As you're watching this video lesson, I hope that you were able to finish the first part of the discussion for week number 6, which was about phrase and its types. In this video, what I will be discussing is about clause, the dependent clause and independent clause. Let's start! What is clause? Clause is a group of related words. It has both the subject and the verb. It sometimes conveys a complete thought depending on the type of clause. Try to look at the following groups of words. Let us find out which are clauses. For it to be called a clause, it should possess all the qualities of a clause stated above. First, the expensive necklace. Second, after he had confessed his problem to his friend. Third, I feel weak. And has been staying. The expensive necklace. Is it a group of words? Yes. Does it contain a subject and a verb? No. The expensive necklace can be used as a subject in a sentence, but it does not have a verb. So this is not a clause. Instead, a noun phrase. After he had confessed his problem to his friend. Is this a group of words? Yes. Does it have both the subject and the verb? Yes. He being the subject and had confessed the verb. Therefore, this is a clause. Next, I feel weak. Is that a group of words? Yes. Has a subject and a verb? Yes. I is the subject and feel is the verb. It possesses the qualities of a clause. Last, has been staying. Is this a group of words? Yes. Does it contain a subject and a verb? No. Has been staying is a verb phrase. Has been, helping verbs, and staying is the main verb. From the given groups of words, these are the examples of clauses. After he had confessed his problem to his friend, and I feel weak. These two have subjects or the topics. They both have as well verbs that tell the action or state of being of the subjects. Yes, it is true they both have a subject and a verb. But if you try to analyze these two clauses, the clause I feel weak conveys or expresses a complete thought. It can stand alone as a regular sentence. On the other hand, after he had confessed his problem to his friend, if it has a subject and a verb, it doesn't give us a complete thought and looks like it lacks something. This happens because clause has two types. It can be independent clause or dependent clause. I feel weak is an example of an independent clause. Independent clause can stand alone. Just like an independent person who can stand on his own feet, it doesn't need any other clause in the sentence to complete its meaning. It looks like a regular sentence. Example: I love K-pop because it always makes me feel happy. I love K-pop is an independent clause. Even removed from the sentence, its meaning or thought is still complete. In a sentence, two independent clauses can be connected by coordinating conjunctions. They are also referred as fanboys. F for, A for and, N for nor, P for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. When we use one of the fanboys between independent clauses, it signals that the clauses are equal. Both are independent clauses. I feel sleepy, but I still have many paperworks to finish. We have two independent clauses in our sentence. I feel sleepy and I still have many paperworks to finish. The two clauses are being connected by the coordinating conjunction but. Another way of connecting two independent clauses is by using a semicolon. Let's try to combine these two independent clauses using the two methods. I felt tired after checking the modules all day. I decided to take a rest. For the first method, I felt tired after checking modules all day, so I decided to take a rest. Two independent clauses are joined or combined by a coordinating conjunction, so. For the second method, I felt tired after checking modules all day. I decided to take a rest. In the second method, two independent clauses are combined or joined with the use of semicolon. Do not forget, independent clause can stand alone. It doesn't need help from another clause in a sentence to complete its meaning. We have two ways how we can combine two independent clauses. First method is by using coordinating conjunctions, also referred as fanboys. Another method is by using a semicolon. Now, let's discuss dependent clause. In contrast to an independent clause, a dependent clause is lacking or incomplete. A dependent clause may contain a subject and a verb, but it begins a thought that is not finished. Examples: because I was sick, and when the parent came. The reason why these two clauses are incomplete are the words because and when. Because I was sick is lacking for what happened as a result of being sick is not stated. So as when the parent came. This does not give us a complete idea, for it does not have words to explain what happened when the parent came. She cannot answer the test because she did not review. This sentence has two clauses. One is independent clause and the other one is dependent clause. Dependent clause needs the independent clause to complete its meaning. When we join a dependent clause to an independent clause, we are not joining equals. One clause, which is an independent clause, is stronger, and the other side, which is the dependent clause, is weaker or subordinate. The words used to join unequal pairs of clauses are called subordinating conjunctions. Here are the examples of subordinating conjunctions. In the example, she can't answer the test because she did not review. The subordinating conjunction is because. Here's the tip. If your task is to get the independent clause and dependent clause in a sentence, the first thing you should do is to look for the subordinating conjunction used in the sentence, because the first word of a dependent clause begins with the subordinating conjunction. The remaining part of the sentence is the independent clause. Another example. If you get high scores in all the quizzes, I will exempt you from taking the final exam. The subordinating conjunction is if. If you get high scores in all the quizzes is your dependent clause, and the remaining part of the sentence, which is I will exempt you from taking the final exam, is your independent clause. The dependent clause, if you get high scores in all the quizzes, needs the independent clause, I will exempt you from taking the final exam, to complete its meaning. The independent clause, I will exempt you from taking the final exam, doesn't need the dependent clause, if you get high scores in all the quizzes, to complete its meaning. These are the things you should not forget about your lesson. Independent clause. Independent clause has a complete meaning and can stand alone. Dependent clause, it needs the independent clause to complete its meaning. If one of the fanboys is used, two independent clauses are joined. If one of the subordinating conjunctions is used, one is dependent clause that begins with a subordinating conjunction and the other part of the sentence is independent clause. Let's try to locate the clauses in these two sentences, then tell whether they are independent clause or dependent clause. Number 1. Many lives were lost after the super typhoon Ulysses had hit the Philippines. Number 2. I went to SM to buy cell phone charger, but I forgot to bring my wallet. Before I tell you the answers, one important step that you should have done is finding out if there's a conjunction used in the sentence. If there's one, ask yourself if that is one of the coordinating conjunctions or subordinating conjunctions. If one of the fun boys or coordinating conjunctions is used, encircle the conjunction. Both sides of the sentence are independent clauses. If one of the subordinating conjunctions is used, underline the conjunction plus the other words in the sentence. That is your dependent clause. The remaining part of the sentence is independent clause. In number 1, many lives were lost after the super typhoon Ulysses had hit the Philippines. We have a conjunction after. And after is a subordinating conjunction. Therefore, after the super typhoon Ulysses had hit the Philippines is a dependent clause. The remaining part of the sentence, which is many lives were lost, is our independent clause. The dependent clause after the super typhoon Ulysses had hit the Philippines needs the independent clause many lives were lost to complete its meaning. In the second sentence, I went to SM to buy cell phone charger, but I forgot to bring my wallet. Our conjunction is but, and but is one of the fun boys or coordinating conjunctions. And you've learned that if one of the fun boys or coordinating conjunctions is used, we are joining equals or two independent clauses. Our two independent clauses are I went to SM to buy cell phone charger, and I forgot to bring my wallet. And you have just finished learning another lesson. I hope you have gained clear understanding about phrase and clause. See you again next week. Goodbye!